Something strange happened to me the other day. I walked into a furniture store and an 18-year-old kid looked at me and said something most men never hear. He said, "Man, I want to be like you someday." And that moment reminded me of something most men completely misunderstand about life. Most young men think life peaks in their 20s, but the truth is, for disciplined men, life often begins at 40, and most people don't understand why. Most people think life is supposed to be figured out by the time you're 40. Career, marriage, stability, success. But what nobody talks about is how many men actually start winning at 40. This young guy started asking me questions about business, about money, about investing, about life. And I could see something happening. He wasn't just talking to me, he was studying me, the way I carried myself, the way I spoke, the way I dressed. And then he said something again that stuck with me. I want to be like that someday. When I was younger, I didn't have the credibility yet. Now, don't get me wrong, I was never a bad-looking guy. Women liked me, but I noticed something interesting. Most women, especially the good ones, often paid attention to older men, sometimes 5 years older, sometimes 10, sometimes 20. I've even seen this overseas in places like the Philippines, and it made me realize something younger men don't always understand. Women are naturally drawn to stability, security, leadership, direction, and most men simply haven't built that yet in their 20s. And younger men need to hear this clearly. This is not competition. Older men are not competing with younger men. We are supposed to be examples for them, because when you're young, your job is not chasing women. Your job is building yourself spiritually, mentally, financially, physically. When a young man focuses on those things, his value begins to compound over time. Why chase what you can attract? When you build yourself into a strong man, your energy changes, your presence changes, your standards change, and the right women begin to notice that. Not just physically beautiful women, but women who are beautiful mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Women who want to stand beside a man, not compete with him. But life also teaches hard lessons. I was married, and today I'm divorced. And the reason I divorced my wife was because she cheated on me more than once. And over time, something started changing in the relationship. Instead of building with me, it felt like she was competing with me. The energy in the house changed. Respect started disappearing. Peace started disappearing. And it felt like the roles in the relationship were getting twisted. Looking back now, the red flags were there. But when you're married, sometimes you ignore those signs until eventually the truth shows up. And something interesting happened after the divorce, because when a man keeps himself together, something happens that most men don't expect. People from your past start noticing, even people who once walked away, because something interesting happens when a man keeps himself together, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. When a man does the work on himself, his value doesn't decrease, it increases. And eventually, people from your past begin to notice that. Sometimes even people who once walked away. After my divorce, my ex tried to come back several times, and that surprised me at first. But then I realized something. When she went back into the dating world, she discovered something many people eventually discover. The man she once had was not easy to replace, because when someone leaves a disciplined man, they often assume they'll find someone better, someone stronger, someone more stable, someone more successful. But reality can be very different. The dating world can be brutal, and sometimes people realize too late that they already had something rare. And that's something younger men need to understand. If you build yourself into a rare man, you become difficult to replace, because most people are not doing the work. Most people are chasing comfort. Most people are chasing attention. Most people are chasing validation. But disciplined men, they are building value. I even saw something interesting online recently. There was a chart showing different male body types. The overweight guy, the average guy, the dad bod, the muscular guy. And women were asked which body type they preferred. And surprisingly, a lot of women chose the dad bod. And the explanation was fascinating, because extremely disciplined men often hold the people around them accountable, and not everyone wants that pressure. But the right woman, she respects it, because she sees leadership. A disciplined man naturally raises a standard. He wakes up early. He takes care of his body. He sharpens his mind. He builds his finances. He leads his life with purpose. And that kind of man forces everyone around him to either grow or walk away. So the young guy asked me something interesting. He said, so what should a guy my age focus on right now? And I told him something simple. Focus on becoming the kind of man that your future self will respect. Not the kind of man chasing approval, but the kind of man building discipline. Because discipline today becomes opportunity tomorrow. And that conversation with that young man made me realize something. Most men are told the wrong story about life. They're told that their 20s are supposed to be their peak. But the truth is that for disciplined men, life often starts getting interesting much later. If you're getting value from this conversation, take a second and hit the like button. And if you're a younger man trying to build your life the right way, stay with me for this final part, because the biggest lesson I shared with that young man in the furniture store might change the way you look at your entire future. That conversation with that young man stayed on my mind, because most men grow up believing the wrong story. They're told that their 20s are supposed to be their peak, that if they haven't figured life out early, that they somehow miss their chance. But that's not how life actually works for men. For men, value is built through discipline over time. It's built through failure, through lessons, through pain, through responsibility, and through the quiet work nobody sees. Every early morning, every late night, every decision to become stronger instead of comfortable. That's how a man becomes rare. So I told that young man something simple. Focus on becoming the man that your future self will respect. Not the man chasing approval, but the man building discipline. Because when you build yourself properly, life begins opening doors that didn't exist before. And if you're a younger man watching this, hear me clearly. Your 20s are not your peak. Your 20s are your foundation. Your 30s are your construction phase. And for being disciplined men, and their 40s are when the structure finally stands tall. That's when wisdom meets strength. That's when discipline meets opportunity. That's when younger men start looking at you and saying, I want to be like that someday. Men don't peak early. Men peak after discipline. And that young guy in that furniture store reminded me of something powerful. The man you become tomorrow is built by the decisions you make today. If you got something valuable out of this video, hit the like button and subscribe. And if you're a younger man building your life right now, stay focused, because the world eventually notices disciplined men.
Young men often chase attention, but wise men build value. Attention fades, value compounds. A man who builds his mind, his body, his faith, and his discipline becomes a force most people cannot compete with. A man who chases women loses focus. A man who builds himself attracts everything, because energy recognizes energy, discipline recognizes discipline, and purpose recognizes purpose. The right woman does not compete with a strong man. She builds beside him. A disciplined man does not peak early. He peaks after years of unseen work. While others chase pleasure, he builds power. And when that power finally shows, the world notices.